Seamless paper backgrounds are a staple item for both amateur and professional photographers. They're versatile, reusable, and affordable. And yet, I find it surprising how many photographers don't take care of them and dispose of them much sooner than needed. In this video, I'm going to give you 10 tips for making your backgrounds last. And I'm going to show you 2 awesome DIY projects. One will help you weigh down the bottom of your background so that it doesn't curl when you unroll it. And the other is a super affordable way to protect and store your backgrounds and to keep them from buckling and to extend their life. Stay tuned. Hey gang, my name is Joe Edelman, and my mission is to help photographers like you to develop a solid understanding of the hows and whys behind great photography so that you can achieve your goals as a photographer. Seamless paper backgrounds. I purchased my first one in 1976. And let me tell you, for a young 16-year-old photographer, it was the coolest background ever. In case you're wondering, it was a 107-inch number 20 black Savage backdrop. To this day, more than 40 years later, I still use Savage paper backdrops as my go-to brand and choice for studio backgrounds. Paper backdrops are a popular background solution because they're available in a huge assortment of colors, and with gels and lighting, there is an almost infinite number of possibilities. Another bonus to seamless paper backgrounds is the price. They're more affordable than equivalent-sized cloth or painted backgrounds. But that doesn't mean that you should think of them as cheap or disposable. In fact, just the opposite. Seamless paper backdrops are made to be used over and over, and with proper care and maintenance, they can last for years. In case you haven't already seen them, I've shared videos in the past about some great DIY background options for portraits, as well as an awesome DIY background holder. I also have a video explaining why gray is my favorite background color, and that's not as boring as it sounds. You can find links to these videos in the description below. While the DIY solutions are great for simple portraits, nothing beats a seamless paper backdrop for versatility. Also, full disclosure, I mentioned Savage brand backgrounds because I really have used them for over 40 years. I've tried the cheaper brands and the paper is thinner and it wears out much faster, not to mention that the colors are not always consistent and they do fade. And to be clear, I'm not being paid to say that. The first thing to consider is what is the best size for your needs. This is going to depend on the type of photography that you're doing and the amount of space that you have to work in. Think about it. You wouldn't just randomly pick a light modifier before you shoot. You select the modifier that is going to give you the kind of light you're looking for and hence the best outcome. Selecting a background should be no different. On the smaller side of things, you can get very thin rolls that are great for tabletop and product photography. These rolls are 26 inches wide by 36 feet long. Now 36 feet is a lot of background, so if you're only doing the occasional product or tabletop shot, you may want to consider foam board or poster board or even cloth background options. A great size for shooting portraits is the 53-inch by 36-foot roll. This is just under 4.5 feet wide, and it's great for shooting kids and headshots and 3/4 length shots. You do have to pay attention when you shoot 3/4 length shots. If you have your subject extend their arms too far, they'll be off the background. Also remember, the further away that your subject is from the background, the smaller the background becomes in relationship to your subject. So for my money, the 53-inch width is for headshots and portraits only. The most common size found in studios is the 107-inch by 36-foot roll. This gives you a background that is just under 9 feet wide and long enough to roll out and have your subject stand on it, lay down on it, or even jump on it. It works great for full body shots and even small groups. Savage also sells rolls that are 107 inches by 150 feet. Yeah, 150 feet, which is a monster roll and wickedly heavy. But if you do a lot of work with Seamless and you find yourself replacing your backgrounds often, this is a viable option. Some Savage colors are also available in 86 inches by 36 feet and 140 inches by 105 feet. I prefer to hang my backdrops from the ceiling in my studio. Remember, my home studio that I showed you in this video only has 8-foot ceilings, so it is important for me to get the backdrops as tight to the ceiling as possible. If you have higher ceilings, you can easily mount the backgrounds on a wall. I've included a link in the description below the video to my blog article that lists my preferred mounting systems. If you need your setup to be portable, you can mount your backgrounds on stands and a crossbar. Unless you want to simply destroy your paper backgrounds and always be fighting with the stands, don't buy a cheap background set. A 107-inch by 36-foot seamless roll weighs 15 pounds. The 150-foot roll weighs 49 pounds. If you're going to use these big rolls on a portable setup, you need to spend a few extra dollars and buy a heavy-duty setup. Don't think that using 2 light stands and a homemade crossbar is a good idea for the big rolls. The 53-inch rolls only weigh 6 pounds. So you can work with a much lighter setup and not run into problems. The DIY PVC stand that I mentioned earlier works great for the short rolls. These are tips that I've learned the hard way by damaging backgrounds, and I assure you they're worth the little bit of effort that they require. The ability to roll out a seamless background and have your subject stand on it is a big part of what makes these backdrops so useful. This works great on hard, even flooring. If your shooting space is carpeted, you need to place a hard surface, like a piece of plywood or plexiglass, between the paper and the carpet. Otherwise, the paper will pucker and crease when someone stands on it. Not to mention that the heels of your model's shoes will poke right through the paper if it's not on a hard surface. Even if you have a roller system that prevents the backgrounds from unrolling, A-clamps are the most important accessory for your backgrounds. Don't buy them from a photo supplier. These are not real photography gear. Get the 6-inch A-clamps at Home Depot or Amazon. And if you're smart, make it a habit to attach them to your crossbar before you unravel the seamless. I can't tell you how many times I've pulled down a seamless only to realize that I forgot to grab the A-clamps. And of course, the weight of the paper just keeps pulling the roll off the bar. Then you have to roll it back up, go get your A-clamps, and start all over again. And by this time, you've probably creased part of your background. Avoid walking on the seamless. Your model can, but you and your assistants should not. If you want your seamless to last, you can't cut corners on this one. When I'm setting up my seamless rolls and I need to place light stands or props on the seamless, I always remove my shoes and only walk on the paper in my socks. If you don't want to remove your shoes, you can get removable shoe covers. These covers are disposable, but in most cases you could use them many times over. You can purchase 50 pairs of them for less than $10 on Amazon. When it comes to my models walking on the paper backgrounds, I always take a minute and wipe down the soles of their shoes while they're in the makeup chair. And I place a small bathroom throw rug right at the edge of the paper and ask them to wipe their feet before they step onto the background. Do be sure to throw the rug in the washer every so often so that it doesn't collect dirt and transfer back to the shoes. This is something you should already have in your studio, but whatever you do, when you roll that seamless out for your model to stand on it, tape down the edges. When a paper seamless background is rolled out onto a smooth surface, it slides really easy. If you don't tape it, you better have some really good liability assurance because you're placing your model at risk for a fall. Not to mention that Murphy's Law pretty much guarantees that your model's high heel shoe will find the edge of the paper and tear it as she walks onto the set. And by the way, don't use duct tape. Gaffer's tape has a blended resin and a natural rubber compound that allows you to remove it without leaving all the adhesive on the paper. Duct tape is cheaper, but will destroy your background and leave adhesive residue on your floor. A 4-foot by 8-foot piece of plexiglass or clear acrylic is a great way to give your floor a reflective quality. The 4x8 sheet is a bit tough to store in smaller studio spaces, but if you have the space, I highly recommend it. I can't tell you how many times I have dropped or damaged a roll because I was in a hurry and trying to handle it by myself. If you have to work solo, take your time and don't rush. Ideally, get someone to help you with hanging, changing, and rolling up your backdrops. They'll last longer and you'll curse much less. I already told you how to prevent smudges and dirt on your backdrops, but the reality is that it will still happen from time to time. White, latex-free plastic erasers are great for removing a lot of smudges. These erasers are used for removing graphite on paper and drafting film, and they're very soft and won't damage the seamless paper. Just don't rub real hard. Also helpful are simple Swiffer duster cloths. I always wipe down the part of the seamless that my model was standing on before I roll it up and store it. Whenever you're ready to cut off some of the roll because the end is worn beyond use, don't use scissors. Use a straight edge like a box cutter knife or a heavy-duty arts and crafts knife. Since the seamless paper is thick and has a curl, Cutting it with scissors will always give you an uneven and random edge. I use 2 pieces of 1 inch by 4 inch by 10 foot lumber that you can purchase at a hardware store for less than $10 each. I place one under the seamless while I use the second one on top as a straight edge to guide my knife. This method also ensures that you won't scratch or cut the surface of your studio floor. This tip applies to pretty much everything photography: cameras, lenses, and backgrounds. If you're a studio photographer, it is important to monitor and control the humidity in your studio space. Humidity is not your friend. It can cause fungus on your lenses and sensors, and it can cause your seamless backgrounds to buckle. You can purchase a simple humidity monitor for less than $10. The ideal relative humidity is between 40 and 50% to prevent fungus. Don't go too low with your humidity because you'll run the risk of drying out the rubber and the lubricants in your lenses. If you have a hard time with humidity in your shooting or storage space, be sure to stay tuned for my DIY storage tip. Seamless paper backgrounds will always last longer if you store them standing up, vertically. If you store them hanging or even laying down, the cardboard cores will eventually begin to sag in the middle, and then the paper buckles and becomes uneven. When you try to use them, they'll unroll like this. Whatever you do, don't just lean them against the wall either. There are several inexpensive storage solutions available, including a super easy and very effective seamless paper storage clip by Savage. By the way, storing them in the cardboard box that they were shipped in is not a great plan unless you're in a very low humidity environment. The corrugated cardboard that the box is made from will absorb moisture and cause more humidity inside the box. I promised you 2 DIY tips. The first one is a counterweight solution to stop the bottom of your seamless paper from curling when you hang it. Savage sells a background leader bar which retails for $75 and comes with a 107 inch by 36 foot roll of white paper. Or they also sell a shorter version that is 4 foot 8 inches and comes with a 53 inch roll of white seamless. Manfrotto also sells a background paper counterweight that is 2 pieces and works on 4 foot or 9 foot rolls, and it retails for $32.95. My solution costs only $6.50 at your local Home Depot. Just purchase a 10 foot by 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe and 2 1 1/4 inch end caps. Then cut off 8 inches so that you have a pipe that is 112 inches long. This will create a little overhang on each side of the seamless. Then using a table saw with the blade set really low, cut a line 109 inches long. When I made my cuts, I wiggled the pipe slightly so that the opening would be a bit wider than the blade. This makes it easier to insert the paper. Then all you need to do is place the end caps on and your build is complete. You don't even need to glue on the end caps, and if you want to paint it, go for it. To attach the counterweight, you first need to make sure that you have a clean edge at the end of your seamless. It is important to have the edge straight and square with the sides. Otherwise, your counterweight will hang crooked and cause the background to buckle. If you're working with a brand new background, it is already square. If you're cutting a worn or dirty end off an existing seamless, I have a really simple way to do it. Hang the background and make sure that you have it hanging level. If you have ceiling mounts, that's easy. If you're using stand mounts, use a bubble level to be sure that the roll is indeed level. Then unravel the background just past the point where you wish to add the counterweight. Take a Sharpie marker and run it along the underside of the roll all the way across. Then go ahead and roll the background out far enough that your line is on the floor. Or if you want, you can remove the background and place it on the floor. Using a sharp blade, cut along the line that was just drawn with the Sharpie. Fold back about 1 inch of seamless and press the fold down tight to make a clean, stiff edge. Then simply slide that edge into the groove that you cut in the PVC pipe. I use a few small pieces of gaffer's tape to keep it in place as I go, and then run a strip of gaffer's tape along the entire length over the groove where the paper has been inserted. Once you've done that, you're good to go. Rehang your background and roll it up, and you have a counterweight that is level and much less expensive than the machined metal options that are available online. I also promised you an easy DIY storage tip for your seamless backgrounds. If you're going to keep your rolls out in the open, standing vertically of course, you should have a room with low humidity, as I already mentioned. If you can't control the humidity, and if you can't store your rolls vertically, you can purchase 4-inch pipes to store them in. Now the common recommendation is 4-inch PVC pipes. I personally think this is a horrible solution. A 10-foot length of 4-inch PVC pipe will cost you over $20, and that doesn't include the end caps. Not to mention that it weighs just over 20 pounds. A better alternative is to purchase a 10-foot by 4-inch length of corrugated drain pipe for $7.21. Purchase 2 4-inch solid snap caps for $2.52 each. Then use a simple box cutter knife. Cut off the bell end, it's the bigger end. I measured my pipe to 109 inches and cut. Slide your seamless roll into the plastic bag that it came with, and then slide everything into the pipe. Add the snap caps on both ends, and you have a durable, airtight storage tube that only costs you $12.25. Now you can stack the rolls or stand them up, and you have a protected and low humidity environment for your seamless. And by the way, this solution weighs just 3 pounds. So there you have it, gang. 10 important and helpful tips to make your seamless paper backgrounds last. And 2 DIY projects to help you save money in the process. I hope you found these helpful. Please hit that thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss any videos. And until next time, go pick up that camera and shoot something, because your best shot, it's your next shot. So keep learning, keep thinking, and keep shooting. Adios.